Welcome to the Ramayana, Stories of Dharm and Devotion. I'm Sandeep, your storyteller, guiding you through the timeless epic of Valmiki's Ramayana. Rooted in ancient tradition and illuminated by countless retellings across India's sacred soil, this narration brings to life a tale where devotion meets destiny and courage is born from love. In our previous episode, Hanuman left behind a blazing message in the heart of Lanka. After finding Sita, delivering Ram's words of hope to her, and receiving her token of remembrance, Hanuman confronted the cruelty of Raavan's court. Bound not by defeat, but by choice, he stood tall before the demon king and warned him of Ram's wrath. And then, like a storm unchained, he set Lanka aflame, not in vengeance, but in justice. From palace to palace, from tower to temple, the golden city crackled under the fire of dharm, sparing only the home of Vibhishan, the righteous soul among the wicked. Now, as the smoke clears and the ashes settle, Hanuman takes one final look at the smoldering skyline, dips his flaming tail into the grateful ocean, and prepares to return. In this episode, we follow Hanuman as he soars once more across the vast sea, carrying not only news of Sita's safety, but also a fiery omen of war. The Vanar Sena awaits with anxious eyes, and Ram's heart longs for word of his beloved. Join me as we witness Hanuman's triumphant return, where loyalty is met with joy, and the vines carry not only a hero, but the rising promise of battle.
With Sita's words in his heart and her head ornament nestled in his hands, Hanuman leaps. A leap unlike any other, not driven by pride, not even by victory, but by love, by devotion, and by a mission fulfilled. The skies, painted with streaks of orange and gold, watch in awe as Hanuman tears through the clouds like a streak of light. The moon gazes down, proud. The stars whisper to each other, "He has done it." Time itself seems to pause. As Hanuman soared back across the vast expanse of ocean, his mind fixed on reuniting with his Vanar brothers, he was suddenly met once more by a familiar celestial presence. From the waves rose Sursa, the radiant mother of serpents, who had tested him once before under the will of the gods. But this time, there was no test, no illusion, only warmth in her eyes and a soft smile playing on her lips. She looked up at the blazing figure streaking across the sky and gently asked, "O mighty Vana, did your journey bear fruit? Did you find Janak's daughter?" Hanuman, pausing mid-flight, bowed with folded hands in midair, graceful even in speed. He said, his voice steady with gratitude, "Yes, O divine one, by your blessings, I have seen her. I have spoken to her. The mission entrusted to me is fulfilled. But the greater war, the war for dharm, the war to restore Devi Sita to Ram, that remains." Sursa nodded, her form glowing like the morning moonlight on the sea. "Then fly, O Anjani's son, the winds and the heavens are with you." With that benediction echoing behind him, Hanuman continued his mighty leap, his heart lighter, his spirit blazing brighter than ever before. As he glides through the heavens, he touches Mount Mainak once more, the mountain that had offered him rest on his journey to Lanka. Mainak trembles with joy at Hanuman's return, offering his peaks in silent homage. But Hanuman does not stop. With every mile, his heart beats faster. With every gust of wind, he feels closer to home. And then, from the distance, he sees Mount Mahendra. And in that very moment, a sound rose across the skies. A thunderous, jubilant roar, part lion, part storm, and part the voice of every Vana who ever longed for dharm to be restored. It is Hanuman's roar. Down below, on the northern shore, the Vanar Sena pauses. They turn their heads toward the heavens. Could it be? Could it really be? Jambavan, wise and ancient, smiles knowingly. That is no ordinary sound, he says. That is the sound of victory. That is Hanuman. Cheers erupt. Monkeys leap from trees, race across rocks, beat their chests with joy. Angad's eyes shine. Even the birds above seem to dance. And then they see him, a golden figure, like a mountain with wings, descending from the sky, his eyes glowing, his heart bursting. Hanuman lands with a thunderous grace on Mount Mahendra. The forest bows, the wind still, even the waves hush. Angad rushes to him. Jambavan folds his hands. Others surround him, eyes wide with anticipation. And then Hanuman speaks. With reverence, he bows before his elders. Then, clutching Sita's ornament, he speaks, I have seen her. Devi Sita, the daughter of Janak. She lives, guarded and tormented, yet unshaken. Her eyes search the sky. Her heart beats for only one name, Ram. The forest holds its breath. The monkeys stare in awe. Angad sits, tears of joy in his eyes. The air is filled with gasps, with cheers, with chants of Ram's name. Amid the joyous roars and thundering cheers, a serene figure stepped forward, Tara, the queen of grace and wisdom. Her eyes, long accustomed to sorrow, now glimmered with cautious hope. She had watched the horizon with a mother's heart, not just for Sita, but for the fate of all Ayodhya, Kishkindha, and beyond. Seeing Hanuman land like a blazing sun on Mount Mahendra, Tara folded her hands with quiet reverence. She said, her voice soft but unwavering, Welcome, O blessed son of Anjani. You did not just leap across the ocean. You leapt across despair. You have returned not just with tidings, but with the hope of every mother who waits for her child, of every queen who prays for her people. This news you carry shall lift the weight from Ram's chest and light the path for dharm to rise again. Her words fell like a benediction over the entire Vanar Sena, silencing even the most jubilant among them. For Tara's sorrow was known, and her hope was sacred. Hanuman bowed his head to her, humbled not by glory, but by the recognition of one who bore her own grief with quiet strength. Angad's voice chokes with emotion. What devotion! What strength! What love! Hanuman, you are not just a hero, you are Ram's own breath. The Vanar Sena, united in joy, sit in a circle around Hanuman. The stars rise above them, lighting the mountaintop like a heavenly stage. There is laughter. There is weeping. There is silence. And there is hope. Seated atop the windswept heights of Mount Mahendra, with the salty spray of the sea still clinging to his fur, Hanuman stood surrounded by his brethren, Jambavan, Angad, Tara, and the mighty Vanar Sena. Their eyes shimmered with anticipation, their hearts pounding with questions that only Hanuman could answer. The great son of Anjani, glowing with the radiance of fulfilled purpose, prepared to recount a tale that would soon resound through the ages. It was Jambavan, wise and ancient, who first broke the silence. O Hanuman, hero of our hopes, your return has lifted the fog of despair. Now, tell us everything. How you crossed the vast ocean, how you found Devi Sita Mata, and what transpired within the heart of the demon's kingdom. Spare no detail, for your tale is not just a recounting, but a beacon to guide our next steps. Hanuman bowed deeply to Jambavan and Angad. O great Jambavan, O noble Angad, O great Queen Tara, and all my beloved brothers, listen with patience, for the story I bring is heavy with peril, but also with hope. He began by describing his mighty leap from the very peak on which they now stood. I soared into the sky with Ram's name in my heart, driven by nothing but his purpose. As I flew, a golden mountain rose from the sea. It was Mount Mainak, sent by the ocean and my father Vayu to offer me rest. But I declined. My mission was sacred. I touched its summit in reverence and moved on. Then came his encounter with Sursa, the mother of serpents. She blocked my path, claiming I was ordained to be her meal. But I knew she was testing me. With humility and wit, I entered her mouth and exited instantly in my tiniest form. She laughed and blessed me, saying, May your mission for Ram succeed. A horse fell as Hanuman described the terror of Sinhika, the shadow-snatching demoness. She dragged my shadow, stalling my flight. But I descended swiftly, expanded my form, and with a single thrust, tore out her heart. She fell into the sea with a scream that shook the heavens. The celestial sages in the sky praised me, and I flew on. With reverence in his voice, Hanuman spoke of his search for Devi Sita. Through Raavan's palaces I searched, seeing his queens, but not the one we seek. At last, in Ashok Vatika, beneath a mighty tree, I found her. Pale, fasting, her body frail but her spirit unbroken. She sat, surrounded by monstrous ogresses, yet her thoughts were only of Ram. Gasps escaped the Vanars. Tara pressed a hand to her chest, whispering, "Goddess of endurance, what strength she must have to bear such torment." Hanuman nodded. I watched from above, then gently revealed myself. I spoke of Ram, of Sugriv, and our search. At first, she feared a trick. But when I showed her Ram's ring, tears welled in her eyes. She took a jewel from her hair and gave it to me, a token for her beloved. He then recounted Devi Sita's message, "Tell Ram to come soon. I can survive 2 months more. If he does not come, I shall perish." I offered to carry her back on my back, but she refused. "Let Ram reclaim me with his own might," she said. Moved by her devotion, I swore to return with Ram. Then I destroyed the Ashok Vatika to provoke Raavan. A solemn silence blanketed the summit. Hanuman's eyes gleamed. The demon king sent his mightiest warriors. I killed Jambumali, the sons of the ministers, the 5 generals, and even Akshay, his own son. Then came Indrajit. With God Brahma's weapon, he bound me. I allowed it, for I needed to speak directly to Raavan. He described the courtroom. I delivered Ram's message. Vibhishan alone advised reason. But Raavan, in his pride, ordered my death. Vibhishan intervened again, reminding him of dharm. So, they chose to burn my tail. The Vanars growled in anger. Tara's eyes flashed, and she asked, "The fools dared lay hands on the messenger of Ram?" Hanuman continued, "Yes, they wrapped my tail in rags, soaked it in oil, and set it alight. But fire did not burn me. Devi Sita had prayed to Agni, and the flames cooled. I escaped my bonds, took an iron rod, and set fire to the city, sparing only Vibhishan's home. The golden Lanka was reduced to ash. A horse fell again." Hanuman continued, but then doubt struck me. Had Devi Sita perished in the fire? My heart broke. Yet, I heard celestial voices singing praises and telling me that Devi Sita was safe. Her virtue, her devotion, protected her. I returned to her briefly to assure myself. She was unharmed. Then I soared homeward. He paused and added softly, "As I flew, I met Sursa once more. She asked of my mission. I told her, Devi Sita has been found. The messenger has returned. Now the warrior must march." Hanuman lowered his voice. "That is all, noble Vanars. My task is done. Now, the time has come for Ram to rise." The forest echoed with joyous howls. Angad embraced Hanuman. Jambavan smiled with pride. Tara whispered a prayer of thanks. And high above, the wind rustled through the trees, as though the gods themselves were applauding the Vanar who had set the wheel of dharm into motion. As the roars of the Vanars echoed through the valleys of Mount Mahendra, shaking the ancient trees and stirring the waves below, the air grew thick with purpose. But Hanuman, standing amid his brethren, raised a hand, not to silence, but to reflect. He said, "Brothers, there is one more thing I must share about Devi Sita. She was thin, so fragile that the wind itself seemed a burden to her skin. Her face, once radiant like the moon, was dulled by sorrow. Her voice trembled when she spoke of Ram, and yet it never wavered in faith. Her every breath was for him. For us to fail her now, after all she has endured, would be a crime against dharm itself." He clenched his fists. She placed her hope in me. But more than that, she placed her fate in Ram. It is not enough for us to have found her. It is not enough to simply tell Ram that she waits. We must return with fire in our hearts and thunder in our steps. For no woman of such devotion deserves to wait a day longer than necessary. Angad stepped forward, his voice brimming with youthful fervor. The fire of Bali coursed through his veins, and in his eyes blazed the same righteous fury that now stirred the hearts of all. He said, "O Hanuman, what you've accomplished is beyond imagination. You have found Devi Sita, faced Raavan, and set Lanka ablaze. But after such glory, shall we merely return with words? Shall we look into Ram's eyes and say, 'We saw her, but left her behind'? Let us not sleep tonight. Let us move from this mountain like an arrow from the bow of Ram himself." Angad declared, his voice rising. "I say no. No one in the three worlds matches us in strength or speed. Hanuman has already shattered Ravan's pride. What remains? Let us leap back to Lanka and bring Devi Sita here. Now, let Ram see her standing safe before him, and let his sorrow melt in her embrace." The Vanars murmured, their hearts resonating with the prince's passion. The Vanars cheered, pounding the earth with their feet. Even the birds flew from the trees in awe of the sound. Roars of approval erupted among the Vanars. The idea was intoxicating, heroic, immediate, just. But then, from his seat like a mountain unmoved by storm, Jambavan raised a calm hand. He gently said, "Angad, your spirit is noble, your courage unmatched. But this matter is not just one of might, it is one of dharm." The Vanars grew quiet, listening as the Ancient One continued, "You are not wrong in wanting Devi Sita restored. We all burn with that same desire. But to act without seeking Ram's will, would that be right? This is not our war alone. It is his grief, his duty, and his path to walk. Even the stars wait for their appointed time to rise." He turned toward Hanuman and said, "You have delivered the message. You have ignited the fire. Now let us go, not with Devi Sita in hand, but with the full tale of her endurance, her message, and her token. Let Ram choose how this war shall be waged." As Jambavan's words settled into the hearts of the gathered Vanars, Tara stepped forward, her gaze steady, her presence radiant with both grace and strength. The breeze rustled through the trees as if pausing to listen. She said, her voice calm, yet carrying the weight of deep understanding, "I agree with Jambavan. Hanuman has already told us. He offered to carry Sita away from Lanka. He would have brought her here safely on his own mighty back. But Sita refused. She looked around, her eyes meeting those of Angad and the other warriors. She continued, she refused, not because she lacked faith in Hanuman's strength, but because she had faith in something greater. She believed in Ram. She knew in her heart that it is he who must come to Lanka and reclaim her." Tara turned to Hanuman, her voice softening. "And as a woman, I understand. Raavan did not merely imprison her. He took her from Ram's home in the forest. He violated the sacred bond, the dharm of a guest, a protector. Sita wishes not to be taken back like a rescued prize, but to be restored with honor through Ram's Vela." She paused, her voice gaining quiet strength. "Let this be Ram's battle. Let him restore the balance of dharm and adharm. We, as his allies, are here to serve that cause, not to overstep it." The Vanars listened in reverent silence. Even Angad, fiery and ready, now bowed his head, his pride tempered by her wisdom. Jambavan nodded approvingly. "Well spoken, Tara. It is not just about bringing Devi Sita back. It is about restoring cosmic order. That power, that right, belongs to Ram alone." Hanuman looked to the sky, the sun glowing above, and whispered, "Yes, the wheels of dharm have begun to turn. Now, let us go to Ram and prepare the path for justice." With their resolve aligned, the Vanars began their descent from Mount Mahendra, hearts filled not just with strength, but with clarity. They would not carry Sita back, but they would carry her message, her jewel, and her unshaken devotion. And that, they knew, would be more than enough to awaken the lion in Ram. Amidst this, Tara, ever the wise one and a master of strategy, stepped forward once more. Her eyes, sharp with intellect, scanned Hanuman thoughtfully. She asked, her tone now precise and measured, "O Hanuman, in all that you observed, did you note anything else? Any detail about Lanka's terrain, its fortifications, or Raavan's defenses that might aid us in the war to come?" Hanuman smiled faintly, nodding, "Yes, Devi Tara. While I searched for Devi Sita and later brought fire upon the city, I studied Lanka closely. I observed the layout of the gates, the height of the ramparts, the patterns of the guards, and the pathways that led from the palace to the outer city. I even saw the hidden vaults and armories." He paused, letting the weight of this knowledge settle. "I marked the strongholds and the weak spots. The city is mighty, but not invincible. Its glory stands tall, but its arrogance makes it brittle." Tara exhaled with quiet relief. "That will help us." "Greatly." Then Hanuman turned to Angad, his expression both proud and protective. "There is one more thing. I told this before briefly, but now is the time to detail it out. I knew of the curse placed on you by your teacher that should you ever slay Raavan's son Akshay, doom would follow. That burden is not yours to carry. When Akshay came to battle me, I recognized the moment. And so, I took the weight upon myself. I slew Akshay, not just as an enemy, but to clear the path for you, Angad. As a guardian of this kingdom, as one who has taken this mission as my life's purpose, it was my dharm to protect our future. You must walk into Lanka without fear, without the shadow of a curse upon your soul." Gasps stirred among the Vanars. Angad stood stunned, emotion rippling across his proud face. "Hanuman, you have not just found Devi Sita, you have protected me like a family." Hanuman then turned toward Jambavan, his eyes softened with humility and newfound understanding. He began, his voice steady yet filled with emotion, "O venerable Jambavan, there's something I must share from my heart." The elder bear looked up, his wise gaze already anticipating what was to come. Hanuman continued, "Before I departed for Lanka, I was puzzled. Angad had offered himself with enthusiasm, and rightly so. He's the prince of our people, brave and capable in every measure. It seemed just and fitting for him to lead that mission. Even I was wondering why you insisted that I go in his stead." Hanuman paused, his voice now tinged with reverence. "But when you reminded me of who I am, of the strength I hold, of the power that lies dormant until purpose awakens it, I saw what you saw. And then, while in Lanka, I remembered the curse placed upon Angad, the danger it held. Only then did your decision fully reveal itself to me." He stepped forward and bowed low. He said, "You did not just choose the right warrior, you preserved the future of our kingdom. You safeguarded Angad, and in doing so, ensured that Bali's legacy would march proudly beside Ram into battle. Thank you, Jambavan. Your vision reached far beyond the mission. You saw not just what needed to be done, but who must be preserved to lead tomorrow." Jambavan's eyes glimmered with quiet pride. He placed a gentle hand on Hanuman's head. "You were always meant to be the wind that clears the path. And Angad, he's the flame that must walk it. The future belongs to both of you." Tara, who had been silently watching, felt a deep wave of relief sweep through her. She placed her hand over her heart and said softly, "Our kingdom has never lacked in strength. But strength tempered with foresight, this is what will carry us through. Today, I feel reassured that our land, our people, and our dharm are in the care of not just warriors, but visionaries." Jambavan nodded solemnly. "Every path is clearing, and Hanuman is the wind that sweeps ahead of the storm." Angad stepped forward, placing a hand each on Hanuman and Jambavan's shoulders. He said, with elders to guide and seniors to fight besides, "I have no fear, not of Lanka, not of war, not of fate itself." The wine stirred around them again, as though bearing witness to this union of minds and hearts. The Vanar Sena stood stronger than ever, not just in number, but in purpose. With hearts uplifted and eyes turned now toward the horizon, the Vanars knew their task was far from over, but they no longer walked in uncertainty. The journey to Ram would carry with it the fire of knowledge, strategy, and unwavering brotherhood. With the golden sun now tilting toward the western sky, casting a warm light over the jubilant Vanars, the air around Mount Mahendra thrummed with victory. Having completed a mission that once seemed impossible, the mighty Vanar Sena, led by Hanuman, Angad, and Jambavan, prepared to leap across the land once more, this time homeward. But their hearts, lightened with joy, carried not just the news of Sita, but a hunger for celebration. As they soared over hills and forests like thunderclouds alive with motion, Angad suddenly slowed in midair, a mischievous gleam in his eye. "Brothers," he called out, "why rush straight to Kishkindha? Let's make a small detour. What better way to celebrate the success of our mission than by visiting Madhuvan, Uncle Sugriev's most cherished grove?" The Vanars let out a chorus of delighted howls. "Madhuvan," cried one. "Honey and shade and laughter. After all we've done, we've earned it." Jambavan raised an eyebrow, but said nothing. He knew Angad's suggestion carried more than just merriment. The young prince was clever. This celebration would be the perfect signal. Word would reach Sugriv before they did. And when honey was disturbed in Madhuvan, it could mean only one thing: the mission was a success. With Hanuman at the front, the sky shimmered with the Vanars as they descended upon the sacred grove. Madhuvan, nestled like a jewel amidst the hills, burst forth in gold and green clusters of flowering trees laden with honeycombs, a fragrant paradise untouched and sacred. But today, it would be shaken. As they landed with the glee of children returning home from battle, Angad turned to the Vanars with mock serious authority. "O heroes of the Vanar race, this grove, though precious to Uncle Sugriv, is more than just a store of sweetness. Today, it is our victory ground. Let every branch, every blossom, bear witness to what we have accomplished." "Will we get permission from King Sugriv first?" a younger Vanar asked with a grin. Angad winked. "Not necessary. Let Dadhimukh go tell him." Laughter erupted as the Vanars, drunk on triumph, rushed into the grove. With Angad's nod and Jambavan's amused silence, the trees were soon alive with buzzing excitement. Honey oozed from broken hives. Blossoms were trampled under dance. Monkeys rolled, leapt, swung, sang, and stumbled across Madhuvan like living whirlwinds. Some sang Ram's name. Some mimicked the sounds of battle. Some reenacted Hanuman setting fire to Lanka with his tail, waving flowering twigs like flaming torches. Others roared, "Victory to Ram! Victory to Devi Sita!" with honey still dribbling from their mouths. And amid this unrestrained celebration, the guardian of the grove, Dadhimukh, Sugriv's own uncle, appeared. "What is this madness?" he bellowed, stepping into the chaos with righteous fury. "Who gave you Vanar's permission to defile Madhuvan?" But the Vanars were too drunk on honey and glory to heed his words. They jeered playfully, circling him like mischievous pups. When Dadhimukh tried to push them back, they pounced, gently but overwhelmingly. Clawed hands held his arms. Fluffy tails knocked him off balance. With their teeth and nails, not in cruelty, but in giddy mischief, they wrestled him to the ground. He yelped, more from frustration than pain, and soon found himself slumped at the base of a tree, his garland askew and his pride dented. Breathing heavily, his for dusty, Dadhimukh sat upright and muttered, "This can mean only one thing. They found her. That Hanuman. That Prince Angad. They wouldn't dare unless the news was good." And though he had been bruised and battered, Dadhimukh could not help but smile. He whispered to himself, "I must go to Kishkindha at once. The king must be informed. This storm in the grove is the sign of triumph." And with that, the guardian of Madhuvan, dusty but determined, rose to deliver the sweetest message Sugriv had waited for: Devi Sita has been found.
Even as the honey drips and laughter rings through Madhuvan, The Vanars know their celebration is not the end, but a pause before the next surge of purpose. Their joy is not rooted in indulgence, but in the certainty that Devi Sita, the daughter of Janak, has been found, that Ram's grief will now find its path to action. Hanuman, ever humble despite having shaken the pillars of Lanka, rests only to refuel the fire of resolve. Angad's cleverness, Jambavan's foresight, Tara's wisdom, together, they've lit the torch that will guide Ram to war. And yet, the questions stir like distant thunder. What fury will awaken in Ram's eyes upon hearing of Sita's suffering? How will Sugriv respond to the signals sent through Madhuvan's shattered silence? Will this brotherhood of fur and fang, loyalty and love, be enough to stand against Raavan's mighty legions? Join us in the next episode of the Ramayana, Stories of Dharm and Devotion, where alliances are forged, oceans are dared, and an army of faith marches toward a battle that will echo through eternity. Share this tale with those you cherish, and let its enduring wisdom awaken strength in your soul. Though the details of the Ramayana differ in every telling, its heartbeat remains unchanged, a beacon for all who choose courage over fear. Until we meet again, may the light of Dharm guide your path, and may your spirit stand tall.